City Forum, the Eurasia City Diplomacy, Development Cooperation Forum, and the Busan World Citizen Festival are all symbols of Busan's soft power, reinforcing the brand of Busan as a city of global peace. BeFM 부산영어방송 is committed to making Busan a city where citizens can comfortably communicate in English and thrive in competition with the world. Together with the Busan Global City Foundation, we are building a global hub city where citizens can be happy.
It's a freezing cold winter, so let's be prepared for the cold wave in advance. Please be prepared to protect yourself and your family against the cold wave, which can be fatal for people and can create damages such as pipe bursts, icy roads, and frostbite. Keep the temperature warm for the elderly and young children who are more vulnerable to the cold. When you go outside, dress warm so you don't get frostbite. If you get frostbite, put the affected part of your body in warm water for 30 minutes. Keep the area warm and immediately go see a doctor. Keep water meters and boiler pipes from freezing by insulating them with old clothes or other materials. The roads may be icy, so get winter supplies like snow chains and check your car in advance for antifreeze and other necessities. Frequently check for cold wave-related weather forecast through the TV, radio, and the internet. Please follow these guidelines so that we can have a warm and safe winter. This campaign is brought to you by BeFM, 부산영어방송.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Balanced development has been listed at the top of the government's agenda. It's been there for quite some time, if we think about it, and this includes a variety of tasks aimed at revitalizing the local economy and creating jobs, of course. One such move, the relocation of public institutions to outside the capital area. But that timeline has been delayed by about a year, which, by the way, has already been delayed once before. Delay upon delay. And while there are many interests at play, Busan City is waiting on the many promises that have been made about regional development. But for now, they continue to go unfulfilled. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Tuesday, December 3rd on BeFM, 부산영어방송. Good morning, wavers out there, all you early birds waking up to the sound of my voice on this Tuesday. So it's getting kind of, I'm getting used to the idea. December 3rd. It boggles the mind. Yes, we are well into December, the last month of the year once again. And today's top story is all about the promise, relocation of public institutions to better serve balanced regional development. So we're going to begin with where the country's public institutions or 공공기관 are currently located. Well, it should come as no surprise that the highest number are in Seoul with 36% of the total, followed by 8% in Gyeonggi and 2% in Incheon. And of the 339 public institutions, only 21 of these institutions, or let's say 6%, are located here in Busan. And the Yoon Suk-yeol administration had pledged to carry out the second relocation of public institutions to the provincial regions, non-capital areas, with a move to begin by late 2023. However, we're at the end of 2024 still has not happened. So competition is really fierce with each municipality aiming for multiple public institutions. It is definitely a competition. So it goes to show how much these institutions will benefit the local economies respectively and how much fine-tuning there must be done to get this task done. It means that time is of the essence, but the process is being delayed by about a year, right? So the Land Ministry said that it has extended the contract research for the analysis of this policy initiative and the positions of the respective governments. And this second relocation attempt of public institutions, it was an initiative that began under the previous administration, pushed onto the next government, the now Yoon administration. But it seems that this issue is getting pushed back to the back of the agenda yet again, to the back burner, at least it seems, at the central government level, while those outside the capital area, including us, we continue to wait. So that is the tenor, the theme of today's main story. Now it's time for you to get involved, the waivers out there. Topic time. Do you actually space out? You know, we hear this term a lot, especially here in Korea, 멍때리다. Space out. When you do space out, is it really without thinking, or do your thoughts travel somewhere? What goes on in your head when you zone out or when you try to zone out? What goes on? Is there a lot going on, or do you try to really meditate and kind of zen out? 나는 아무 생각 없이 멍 때리기 가능하다 versus 불가능하다. So think about that. 멍 때릴 때 무슨 생각하나요? What do you think about when you're, potentially zoning out, spacing out? What kind of thoughts creep into your head? That is what we're talking about for a text topic. You can send in your messages to BFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. And so you can do so by going to the YouTube platform, look for or search for BeFM, 부산영어방송. After you've seen our channel, click on that, and then you can subscribe, log in, and chat with our other listeners. Also, on your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 101. The good news is we're available for free on Kakao Talk. We have our own channel as well. Search for BeFM, 부산영어방송, and you can send in your messages and even photos if you want that way. And the ways you can listen to us, 90.5, 103.3 FM. That's if you're in the Busan area. Also, once again, we're streaming live on our YouTube channel. You can play it, replay it, play it back. You can listen at your leisure. We're available on 2 apps, the BeFM app itself and also available on the Papang app. Go to your store. Same thing there. Type in BeFM, 부산영어방송 to download both for free. And looking ahead to our lineup today, it is Tuesday. So what does it mean? We have Andrew with Sports Insider and Bonnie with The Health. That's in hour 1 and 2 respectively. And then for our special interview, today is the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. So it's today. We're marking it today. And we have a very special guest that is due to come on air with us. He is an Australian doctor, lawyer, scientist, and advocate for people or persons with disabilities. So let's get his real story on air. I'm really, really looking forward to greeting him and meeting him on air. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, I will be back with today's headlines. It is now 7:06, and these are today's headlines. National Assembly Speaker puts hold on downsized 2025 budget bill. The National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-sik decided to put the opposition-led downsized budget bill for next year on hold yesterday, urging the ruling and opposition parties to reach an agreement by next Tuesday. DP introduces impeachment motion against audit chair. The main opposition Democratic Party, DP, reported an impeachment motion against The Board of Audit and Inspection, or BAI Chair Choi Jae-hye during a parliamentary plenary session yesterday. Yoon vows to ease burden on micro businesses from delivery app commissions. President Yoon Suk-yeol pledged to introduce measures to ease the burden on small merchants from delivery app commission fees as part of efforts to boost sluggish domestic consumption. U.S. announces new chip export restrictions against China. The United States announced a new semiconductor export control package against China, including restrictions on exports of high bandwidth memory HBM chips for artificial intelligence that are likely to affect the South Korean industry. Dozens killed in crowd crush at Guinea football match. At least 56 people have been killed in a crush at a football match in Guinea's second largest city in Zerikore, according to the government. And these are today's headlines. Let's check in with Haley for all the updates. Good morning.
Sorry, what?
Were you 멍 때려잉?
Yes, always, constantly, all the time.
And when you do, are you really like spacing out with no thoughts running through your head? Do you try to do so,
it's
or
a blank space, blank canvas? Well, I try not to, because it's time when I try to like hit refresh. But then I don't get that imaginative. I know people who do, but I just think of like things I need to do. Or like what am I going to write?
to-do list.
My to-do list, or what am I going to write for Morning Wave tomorrow? Like,
yes.
Are there updates that one story? So it's all very work related. So I try to I imagine, and especially at night when you can't fall asleep and you try to clear your mind.
Sure.
I imagine like a broomstick.
A broomstick?
Through my mind, like,
oh, sweeping?
Sweeping, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, not riding it, right?
No. What's the verb that you do with the broom? Because I haven't touched one in ever.
Sweep away.
Yeah, I'm just like literally sweeping my mind. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, let's dive into our Busan updates for right now. So first, we're going to go back to the Air Busan story. Busan's Chamber of Commerce has made a request to the Korea Development Bank, or KDB, to keep the airline here in Busan.
Right. So now that the Korean Air and Asiana Airlines merger is nearly complete, we are going to hear about this Busan Air Busan story for some time until there is a conclusion.
Yes.
But let me give you a bit of background. So the European Commission, they're the decision-making body behind the EU. They approved the merger between Korean Air and Asiana Airlines. So that means that the low-cost carriers, Hokka-항공사, the LCCs these two companies own, they're going to have to be merged as well. So we're talking about three: Air Busan under Asiana Airlines, Chin Air, and Air Seoul. So with that, the Busan Chamber of Commerce and Industry yesterday issued a strong statement condemning and calling for action to keep Air Busan in Busan. So they said the hopes of keeping the airline by the people of Busan, those hopes have been ignored by the disinterest from the Korea Development Bank, Sanin, or the KDB, as well as the Land Infrastructure and Transport Ministry and Korean Air. So they therefore called on the bank to create a stage, a forum, where all the parties of interest can come together and discuss the matter.
All right, so here's hoping. We're, of course, pulling for this local airline to stay local here in Busan, so we'll see what happens. All right, next up, we have a couple of big art events coming to Busan, I hear.
We do. So if you're interested in art, this is the time. So this coming Thursday is the Busan International Art Fair, or BF, and this is a direct market between buyers and artists, so no middleman involved. So its organizer, K-Art, announced that BF will take place from Thursday the 5th until Sunday the 8th at Bexco from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. each day. And the event this year is actually being co-sponsored by corporations from both South Korea and India. So therefore, the fair will focus on expanding the cultural and artistic exchanges and cooperation between the two countries. So some 250 artists will come and showcase over 3,000 works, including works from 50 new artists. And the fair will also feature a special exhibition with works from 25 Indian artists. And there will be talks by 2 artists who gained acclaim in last year's event.
I see.
And parts of the proceeds will go to UNICEF and to support art students.
All right, sounds good. So let's, of course, support our local artists. So that's going on. And then we have the Museum of Contemporary Art here in Busan putting on a major exhibition on Baek Nam-jun.
Right. So Baek Nam-jun was and is a household name. So late artist. He's considered the father of video art. And his works have been highlighted across the world, including him winning the Golden Lion of the Top Award at the Venice Biennale. But interestingly, domestically, although he is very well known, his works not as commonly showcased, especially in a larger scale, especially after his death. But the Museum of Contemporary Art Busan, they're seeking to change that with the exhibition titled Baek Nam-jun, and Baek Nam-jun. So we can, yes, indeed.
Focus on him.
Right.
Yes.
So it'll feature works from mostly from the Baek Nam-jun Art Center and also pieces that are on loan from the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art, as well as the Ulsan Museum of Art and even the Frankfurt Modern Art Museum.
Okay.
So they're holding 160 pieces, and this will be the biggest posthumous Hahu exhibition on Baek in South Korea. So it's going on right now through next March 16th. And best of all, it's free.
Well, that's definitely good news, and we can feast our eyes on Baek Nam-jun once again. All right, lastly, this is the season for giving, as they say, right?
Right. So it is the end of the year season, kind of when we open our hearts and wallets.
Yes.
Also, if you want to be really practical, and this is an incentive, if you want to get to your tax deductibles quickly, this is one of the best ways of going about it.
Yes.
So Busan Community Chest, so Busan 사회복지공동모금회, they've launched the 2025 Hope Sharing Campaign. So if you go to the Songsangyeon Plaza or Songsangyeon Square, there's that symbolic thermometer, the 온도계, the giant thermometer. And the thermometer goes up by 1 degree Celsius for every 186 million won. The goal is to reach 100 degrees Celsius boiling point with 10.8 billion won.
Okay, well, that is the goal. And, speaking of giving, Jin of BTS, Jimin, oh, goodness, Jimin of
don't
BTS.
know her.
Yes, you don't know me. Okay, so Jimin made a considerable donation to our city.
Well, they all do.
They do,
members,
but
they
yes.
constantly make headlines by giving, but because this is Busan Updates,
Yes.
we go to Jimin, who is from
Busan.
His father lives and works in Busan.
Yes.
So Jimin donated 30 million won, 3천만 원, to Busan's Habitat Challenge.
That's right.
By the way, the Habitat Challenge seeks to improve housing conditions, especially for seniors and by utilizing resources from local communities.
Yes.
And of course, as Jimin is serving in the military, his father passed the money and attended the donation ceremony at Busan City.
Season of giving, and when such a well-noted person does so, I think that will encourage others as well.
And
right?
they do, the fan club army, they kind of are always encouraged by the members, and perhaps we can be too.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you for the updates, Haley. We'll check in with you real soon. All right, waivers out there, it's time for your text topic, which is this. So when we talk about spacing out, zoning out, do you actually do so? Do you kind of free your mind, or do you tend to kind of ruminate and think about things that need to be done or what you're going to have for dinner, or etc. So send in your responses. And in the meantime, here is your traffic and weather. It is now 7:16, going on to 7:17 on the dot right now. Here's your traffic report. Congestion on the Dongso overpass from Hwangyong ramp has been detected going to the old Gegum toll gate. Also looking quite slow on Nakdong-Namdo from Hadan intersection to Haguwon Bridge. And also there's some backup on Luno-Samsungdaero from Byungho Bridge to Shino Bridge. As for the weather, it is currently 7 degrees Celsius. At least here in Centum, it's looking quite clear. The daytime high is expected to go up to 12 degrees Celsius. However, the ultrafine dust levels right now are at bad. Looking at the rest of the country, cloudy in the central region with light snow forecast for Seoul, Incheon, and parts of Gyeonggi starting tonight. It's going to be fairly cold across the country with the daytime high only going to around 5 degrees. And that's away from Busan, obviously. And this was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
It is now time for News Digest. So with Haley, once again, we're going to dive into the top news for this morning. All right, so first, Haley, we're going to go over this very well-covered issue of the aging population. But we're going to look at new issues that have arisen from this ongoing old issue.
Right. So even in our chat, I can see the comments about kind of Busan being the city of old man and the sea, and those comments. And we've dealt with the issues about medical care, businesses and whatnot. But let's go to prisons.
Oh. Okay.
Right, aging and
Yes.
prisons, 교정시설, incarcerations, because the number of older prisoners the number is on the rise.
Oh.
Right, which makes sense as the general population is getting
older.
However, according to the Justice Ministry, so they're classifying, at least for this particular statistic, an inmate, 수감자, as a senior at the age of 60. So there were 2,350 senior prisoners in 2013.
Okay.
That is nearly triple to 6,504 as of last year. And now that figure accounts for over 17% of all inmates.
Oh, wow. So that number has gone up significantly. So what issues arise with age or aging during incarceration?
Right. So, apart from their crimes, we have to just look at the physical and psychological vulnerabilities.
Okay.
Because there is, with anyone, extra care required with one's age, and a decline in cognitive function and even activity levels. And there are also, if you are an inmate, activities one must do, so labor that you have to do based on their sentence. However, these older inmates may have difficulty carrying them out.
I see.
And this is not only a burden on the inmates themselves, but also the correctional officials, so 교정공무원, in terms of their health management and even communications with the inmates, as well as these inmates in vulnerable conditions causing trouble or having, there are anecdotes and stories of them causing trouble within the prison system.
I see.
So experts therefore call for redefinitions in the senior category and even creating prisons or incarceration centers specifically for senior inmates with staff that are specialized in caring or taking care of them.
I see. Well, are there other cases that we may model our system after?
Right, so that we don't start from ground zero, but
Yes.
Japan. We often look to Japan because
Okay.
they've been dealing with the aging population issue about a decade before we have.
True.
So as of 2022, the ratio of seniors for inmates is at 22% for Japan. So they've actually set off to revise the entire criminal justice system, 형사사법체계. So starting next June, Japan's going to incarcerate seniors, but actually exempt them from the labor.
The physical labor. I see. Well, we'll see if there are any changes to our system. In the meantime, let's get to this. This aging issue, ongoing, also weighing down on some of the country's religious institutions.
Right. So looking at kind of, the spots that we didn't really think of when we talked about aging. So religious institutions, 종교시설, they're seeing their very foundations kind of on shaky ground because there just aren't people newly joining the ranks. So according to several Buddhist orders, there are more and more cases of smaller orders and temples accepting monks from Southeast Asia who have come to join the temples in South Korea. So for example, one senior monk in Jeonnam, he accepted a monk, kind of an apprentice from Nepal, to succeed him as the head of the temple. So this is because the number of South Koreans joining monkhood, that's been on the decline from 150 in 2017 to just 84 last year. So it's about halved in the span of, 4 or 5 years. Similar case in Catholicism. So the College of Theology, 신학대학 within Busan Catholic University, it actually shut down way back in 2019 due to the lack of new students joining. And new students who wish to study theology in Busan are now sent to Daegu. And then there were 143 freshmen to the seminary back in 2013.
Yes.
And that dwindled to 81 last year in Daegu. So one official from the country's Catholic Bishops' Conference of Korea said that at this rate, the country may have to start receiving priests from more populous Catholic countries, such as the Philippines.
Oh, really? So what are some potential problems that might arise from this, though?
Well, legal issues, visas, and immigration brokers who exploit this system.
Okay.
So religious visas are easier to come by as opposed to other work visas that take a lot of time and sponsorship, because you basically need an invitation from the temple or a senior monk to get that visa. So there have already been cases of brokers who exploit this, for example, in countries like Sri Lanka, to bring people in on these easier religious visas. And then once they arrive in Korea, they disappear. Instead of going to the temples that they had pledged to go to, they are then they go into the workforce, and this makes them undocumented immigrants.
Yes, indeed. These are issues we probably haven't thought about once again, so thanks for bringing them to our attention. All right, moving on. Lotte Group has been taking some drastic measures against their liquidity woes.
Right. So the sixth largest conglomerate in the country, Lotte Group, they've been facing these rumors of a serious financial crisis. And industry insiders say that kind of a huge crisis isn't likely going to happen, but the group is still working to secure liquidity, or 유동성.
Yes.
So the reason for this is because the current status of the group's two biggest, their flagship businesses, which are retail and chemical, they are looking at some underlying risks. Investors are concerned about these risks, so the group is preparing for any potential impacts that may come from this.
Okay.
So we have, I think earlier this week, sometime last week, covered the story of Lotte Shopping trying to sell the Lotte department store in Centum City.
Right.
Or at least they've gotten the bidding process started through Cushman and Wakefield.
Yes.
It's also recently shut down the Busan store, and there are even rumors of the company selling its financial unit, Lotte Capital. And then last week, and this was kind of huge news, Lotte Group said it has offered the Lotte World Tower, that big one in Seoul, as collateral, 담보, to banks to strengthen the creditworthiness of corporate bonds issued by its struggling chemical unit, Lotte Chemical. So it's all connected. Although the group did state that the decision was just to reassure investors of the financial prudence.
Sure.
But anxiety is growing because, it is the Lotte Tower. It's quite symbolic.
Right.
So if they're offering that up as collateral, then what's going on?
Yes, because that's like their marquee, like flagship building symbol. So the company is trying to reassure investors once again and shareholders by making some sweeping personnel changes, right?
Yeah, and by sweeping, I mean 21 CEOs across all of its affiliates and subsidiaries being replaced last week.
Okay.
And also they're going on to, I believe, third generation of their Taeber ruling hierarchy. Shin Yu-yeol, who's Shin Dong-bin's son, he's been promoted as vice president and has taken over full management. So as part of the overhaul, 22% of the executives stepped down and they've reduced top-level positions by 13%.
Okay.
So the group said that these changes, they seek to streamline decision-making and improve organizational efficiency.
And the company apparently is taking legal measures against these rumors.
They are. So Lotte Group has requested the police to start looking into those and find people who are responsible for creating and distributing these rumors about this supposed moratorium. So there were two YouTube videos that emerged that came out last month and saying that, and this was titled, quote, Lotte Group at risk of dissipating. And here's the thing. Under criminal law, distributing false information and damaging the credibility, it may subject one to under 5 years in prison or up to 15 million won in fines.
So make sure that we don't take part in any of those
Right.
disseminating of rumors. So there you have it. For our final story, we're going to go to the incoming Donald Trump administration and some of the recent picks. And some critics say they are controversial.
Right. So it's kind of the pattern, though. We've seen this pattern of family picks and Trump loyalists.
Okay.
So the most recent controversy is with the FBI director nominee, Kash Patel. Here's problem number one.
Okay.
It's not time to nominate a new FBI director because directors to the FBI, their terms are conventionally usually 10 years.
Right.
So the current chief, Christopher Wray, he was actually nominated by Trump during Trump 1.0 back in 2017. 10 years, you do the math, about 3 years left in his
Yes.
job. But Ray fell out of favor with the former president, now president-elect, because the FBI assisted that federal probe with the classified documents handling.
I see. So let's find out who exactly Kash Patel is. Who is he?
So once again, Trump loyalist. He was previously an aide with the U.S. Defense Department under
Okay.
the first Trump administration. So Trump wrote on Truth Social, Kash is a brilliant lawyer, investigator, and America First fighter who spent his career exposing corruption, defending justice, and protecting the American people. So that's Trump's side. However, Patel has previously called for dramatically limiting the FBI's authority, and that was written out in his memoir, which is called Government Gangsters. So that is quite telling of
yes.
his position. His other publications include children's books that feature this character, King Donald.
King Donald?
King Donald. Yeah.
Okay.
I said loyalist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some of Trump's other picks, that might involve, kind of the family or within the realm of the family.
Right. So interestingly, during his first administration, definitely his children, and so daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner. But now he's going to the in-laws. That's the prevailing theme.
Okay.
So Charles Kushner, father of Jared Kushner, he has been named the U.S. ambassador to France. And daughter Tiffany's father-in-law, Mossad Boulos, he's been chosen as senior advisor on Arab and Middle Eastern affairs. And Boulos is a Lebanese billionaire. He was active in the Trump presidential campaign as a liaison with Arab Americans and Muslim leaders.
Interesting. So we will see more of his choices, Trump's choices, as the days, as we near the inauguration, I'm sure.
January 20th.
Yes. Well, thank you for all the news. We'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
And with that, we are ready for our first song break. So here it is. This is So Sick by Neo.
Change my answering machine now that I'm alone, 'cause right now it says that we can't come to the phone. And I know it makes no sense, 'cause you walked out the door, but it's the only way I hear your voice anymore. It's ridiculous. It's been enough. Can't get over. And I'm stronger than this. Yeah, enough is enough. No more walking around with my head down. I'm so over being blue, crying over you. And I'm so sick of love songs, so tired of tears, so done with wishing you were still here. Said I'm so sick of love songs, so sad and slow. So why can't I turn off the radio? Gotta fix that calendar I have that's marked July 15th. Because since there's no more you, there's no more anniversary. I'm so fed up with my thoughts of you and your memory, and how every song reminds me of what used to be. That's the reason I'm so sick of love songs, so tired of tears, so done with wishing you were still here. Said I'm so sick of love songs, so sad and slow. So why can't I turn off the radio? Oh, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Oh, love song. Hey, don't make me think about her smile or having my first child. I'm letting go. Turning off the radio, 'cause I'm so sick of love songs, so tired of tears, so done with wishing she was still here. Said I'm so sick of love songs, so sad and slow. So why can't I turn off the radio? Why can't I turn off the radio? When I'm so sick of love songs, so tired of tears, so done with wishing she was still here. Said I'm so sick of love songs, so sad and slow. Why can't I turn off the radio? Why can't I turn off the radio? And I'm so sick of love songs, so tired of tears, so done with wishing you were still here. Said I'm so sick of love songs, so sad and slow. So why can't I turn off the radio? Why can't I turn off the radio? Why can't I turn off the radio?
Such an oldie but goodie. Great song pick, by the way, from our producer. She picked that song. Let's get to our text topic today. Do you actually space out? And if you do, what do? Are you thinking about something, or do you try to just kind of free up your mind? Empty space. So looking at some of your responses, and I do want to say, excuse me while I turn my back, I got to look at the messages this way. Let's see. Let's go from the top. Oh, yeah, we have Drift Monkey. I did see his message. He says, I'm a chronic spacer outer. Absolutely nothing in my mind. I just look into space and exist without getting bored. Oh, okay. So you're able to do that. I don't know. It's so many thoughts kind of run through my mind when I do try to space out. So anybody that can really space out, I envy you. Thank you for your message. Also, we have Benny who says, I like to space out for a bit. And what do I think about? Well, a busy day ahead at our house. Ooh, okay. And then, let's see. Umberto says this. Usually when someone is telling some story about sports. Oh no, we have sports coming up. My mind goes away for a little vacation on what's on my to-do list. No, don't space out when Andrew's in here. And then, yes, we have definitely more messages. Well, I'll just read one more for now. Leslie, I tend to space out when someone begins a long story when I just ask them how they were and start thinking I should check airline ticket prices. Travel is what I think about. Oh, so, okay, now we know. Leslie, when Leslie says, oh, how are you? It's not an invitation to go into a long, lengthy story. Got it. Keep it concise with Leslie. I'm just kidding, right? Well, we're going to get to Kat's pick for right now. For for today's Cat's Pick, this story, as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to talk about it. It is regarding Joe Biden, who has decided, as the president of the United States, to pardon his son, Hunter Biden. And yes, this is controversial. Here's a clip from the Today Show.
Overnight, President Biden not answering questions as he boarded Air Force One for an overseas trip to Africa. It comes just hours after he signed a full and unconditional pardon for his son Hunter Biden, saying in a written statement that the facts of the cases show, quote, Hunter was singled out only because he is my son, and that is wrong. Adding, in trying to break Hunter, they've tried to break me. Enough is enough. The pardon sweeping, covering offenses that Hunter Biden, quote, has committed or may have committed or taken part in over the past 11 years, including but not limited to all offenses charged or prosecuted. Hunter Biden was scheduled to be sentenced this month for his conviction on federal gun charges and separately for a criminal case in which he pleaded guilty to federal tax evasion. The pardon, a striking reversal for the president.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes, I will not pardon him.
White House aides, even after the election, had also repeatedly said Biden would not pardon his son.
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
But as NBC News first reported, the president did decide to reverse course over the holiday weekend at his family's annual Thanksgiving getaway in Nantucket. In a statement, Hunter Biden writing, I will never take the clemency I've been given today for granted. President-elect Trump, meanwhile, questioning whether Biden would pardon those imprisoned for the January 6th attack on the Capitol, writing on social media, such an abuse and miscarriage of justice. Many Republicans blasting the president's decision. Senator Tom Cotton arguing most Americans can sympathize with the father's decision to pardon his son, even if they disagree. What they can't forgive is Biden lying about it repeatedly before the election. Biden also facing criticism from some Democrats, including Colorado Governor Jared Polis, who wrote he understood Biden's motivations as a father, but, quote, I am disappointed that he put his family ahead of his country.
So in that clip you heard about President Joe Biden, many people thinking that he has reneged on a public promise that he made repeatedly before and after dropping out of the 2024 presidential race that he would not pardon his son Hunter, and now he has. So, by the way, this can't be reversed by Donald Trump. And so this was Cat's Pick for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
All right, we have Andrew, Sports Insider, in the studio with us. Good morning.
Good morning. How are things?
I'm doing well, but I know you must be in a fantastic mood today. I wonder why.
Oh, is it because of the text topic?
No.
Oh, okay.
But let's get to the text topic. Do you space out? Do you 멍 때려, really?
Oh,
Do you?
yes.
Yes?
I think this is one of the things that as somebody who's on the air, you're not supposed to. Is like,
You don't space out on air, do you?
No.
I hope not.
I'm somebody who's a very talkative individual. I can make things up on the spot. I'm an ad-lib person. Like, it's not a big issue. But if I'm just chilling, I'll space out. And I feel like with these mobile devices as well, I feel that's a different kind of a space out. You get in what's called like a death scroll.
Yes.
And just keep going. One of those.
Never ending.
But I feel if it happens, and I think this happens to my wife as well, and as somebody else with children, and I'm sure many people out there as well with kids, this would happen is when your kids are out of the house.
Yes.
Or like I come home from work early, they're not home from school yet or from whatever they're doing, their activities. And I'm just sitting there, whether the TV might be on, but I'm not present or something. So yes, I do tend to space out.
And is it just out of happiness? You're like,
just
the
like,
silence before the storm.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
We get you.
It's some people say space out, some people say relaxing with your eyes open.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, there you go.
Yes, but we are here for sports. And there's only one place to start. It's at Anfield, and let's get to a clip.
It's a sensational ball for Salah. Support is arriving! It's Cody Gakpo for Liverpool! It is the dream start for them. They're so hungry. Well, here's Luis Diaz. He's won the ball, and he has the chance for Liverpool. Luis Diaz is taking down, and Liverpool get themselves a penalty. Liverpool need him to score here on such moments.
So can we take a wild guess that this is Liverpool?
Yes,
Just a wild
so
guess.
It was a big weekend actually in the Premier League. You know, you saw Manchester United finally get a win, their first Premier League game under their new manager, and a 4-0 win at that. So it was a statement for them. Also, Arsenal coming back and very, very strong, a 5-2 win. And, you thought leading up to, we'll get to Tottenham in a moment.
We don't need to. We can skip that part.
Apologies, everybody out there. Now, leading up to Sunday night, the game of the weekend obviously was Manchester City visiting Anfield against Liverpool. And this was going to be either there's something blank or get off the pot kind of thing. And this is going to be it for Manchester City, because if they were to win this, they could, kind of claw their way back into what people say a title race. If they were to lose, they would be 11 points back.
Yes.
Eventually, it would be seen that they're down in 5th position.
Which is kind of like Man City down there.
Exactly.
Yes.
So Liverpool delivered a powerful statement in the Premier League with a 2-0 victory, as you could hear on the clip from Liverpool TV, over Manchester City at Anfield, extending their lead at the top of the table to 9 points. Those 9 points are ahead of Arsenal, who are in second. Man City are all the way down into 5th. Now, the win not only reinforces Liverpool's title ambitions, but also raises massive, and I'll say it again, massive questions over City's ability to mount a comeback this season.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look good right now.
There's 25 games to go.
Yes.
All right.
There are plenty of games.
25 games, which essentially that is 75 points to gain.
Yes.
Or lose. So you could look at it on either end, okay? Liverpool have only lost one game so far this season to Nottingham Forest. Now, this makes it 6-7 games in a row where City haven't got a win.
Yes.
All right. So they drew against Feyenoord in the Champions League last week, but that was also an implosion because they were up 3-0.
Right.
And then ended up
tied,
Feyenoord came back and tied it up. So the match showcased Liverpool's dominance from the onset. Now, Cody Gakpo, as we heard in the clip, opened the scoring, and then Salah took things into his own hand after Luis Diaz was taken down by the City goalkeeper, putting away a penalty, making it 2-0.
Yes.
Now, for Manchester City, the trouble, this defeat is a troubling trend, as I just stated, with the team now winless in 6 across all competitions. Guardiola's squad. Now, I have some City fans out there who are friends of mine.
Yes.
And they were saying 2 games ago, the City looks that City looks unrecognizable. Yes, they have some injuries, but every team out there has
does
injuries.
right now with the schedule.
Exactly. But they just don't look like the same team. They look tired. And then when you have a team like Liverpool who just squeezes the life out of you, there's not a whole lot you can do. So Guardiola, the manager of City, acknowledged they need for a reset. All right. Now, I don't know exactly what he means by reset as this is being the January transfer windows coming up. Are they going to make some moves? Or is it just a back to basics kind of thing? And I do think that's what it means. But he was kind of cheeky to the Liverpool fans. I don't know if people have seen this. When he was holding up the 6 fingers.
Meaning?
It was like this, meaning 6 titles.
Yes.
And the Liverpool fans were chanting, "Sacked in the morning." So, I don't know. I guess, it's one thing to just engage the fans, but I don't know. We'll see what goes on from there.
Leslie wants to know, what do you
Yes.
call the thing on your head, beanie or toque?
This would be a toque, but if you're from where I'm from in Canada, you would hear the word toque a lot more. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a French-Canadian kind of thing. But yeah, it's not, I didn't really, when I heard beanie before coming to Korea, I thought like something that didn't even cover your ears. That was like not, I don't mean like here. I mean, it was like.
You look so different. What you look like
rolled
elfish.
up. I got a haircut.
Okay.
So that's.
But he's trying to cover what looks like
sleep. Yeah, we'll just call it sleep. It's all right.
잠자국.
Yeah.
We're calling it. Yes.
So yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So I call it a toque.
Yes.
But, yeah.
All right. So.
Moving on to Tottenham.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Is there much to say?
Well, I think there's also something to say. As I said, there's 25 games left in the season, so there's plenty of time. Spurs fans are saying the same thing. There is still more time now. Brennan Johnson scored his 6th Premier League goal of the season in the 54th minute, giving Tottenham a 1-0 lead from across from Timo Werner. Now, however, Fulham equalized 13 minutes later, and then it ended up being 1-1.
Right.
Against Fulham. Now, the thing is, a lot of people would hear Fulham, they're thinking, but Fulham are playing very well as of late. So it's no slight against them, but these are games that Tottenham should be winning.
Of course.
They were quite dominant for big stages of this game. And then also their manager, Ange Postecoglou, said they felt the team deserved a point. And he said it was a tight game. We should have taken our chances to put pressure on them. And I agree.
They should have put it away, but they didn't.
100%. And this is the issue is that this isn't the first game this has happened.
Exactly.
And it's not going to be the last. But the 1 point does see them jump up to 7th in the table.
But right there, like the 5th, 6th, there's like a point or two between and among all the teams.
It's win a game or it's lose a game and teams below you win, and you could be
Yes.
down to 11th.
Yes, and then vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah, so. But positive news.
Yes.
Well, hopefully.
Yes.
There is another Spurs player on his way.
Yeah, another South Korean as well. So Yang Min-hyuk has announced his upcoming move to Tottenham Hotspur set for December 16th. So, in a few weeks now. Originally, he was not supposed to arrive in London until next year.
January, right.
Until January. And then even people were saying that it might have been even a little bit later.
Right.
But the 18-year-old winger has, it's been announced, and this is after he's won the Rookie of the Year in the K-League, that he will be going early to get used to life in London. This has to do with the injury troubles that Tottenham are going through at the present time. So they want him early and then possibly being able to put him in. Now, Tottenham have invested $3 million into Young after his impressive season with Gangwon FC, where he scored 12 goals and provided 5 assists.
Yes.
People, they had big hopes and dreams for this player after signing with Gangwon in his second to last year of high school.
Yes.
They didn't think this. Nobody thought he was going to be
this
moving.
Good. Right.
Moving,
like this
especially
quickly.
Moving out of the K-League this
to
quickly.
the Premier League.
Exactly. People were hoping that, it's going to be, I don't want to say the K-League's the development league, but players aren't looking to stay there for their whole career.
Exactly.
They want to move on.
They do.
And he's moving on quite quickly. He expressed his excitement about joining Spurs and emphasized the importance of adapting quickly to his new environment.
Yes.
He also aims to emulate fellow South Korean Son Heung-min, and then hopefully get some guidance from him.
Yes.
I'm sure he's going to get a lot of that. And I'm sure the team is looking for that from Sonny as well.
Of course.
Not just because he's a captain, but, he knows what it's like to move away from home.
Yes.
And then maybe he'll help with some
Hopefully be
meals
a mentor.
and things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Not just a big brother, but maybe also a father figure. No pressure, Sonny. All right.
No pressure at all.
Exactly.
Let's move away from soccer or football for now and talk about another sport.
Yes. Now, South Korean figure skater Lee Hae-in has returned to competitive skating after successfully challenging her 3-year suspension.
Okay.
Now, at the national team trials in Ujeonbu, Lee finished 5th with a score of 190.64 points, securing a spot in the 2025 Four Continents Figure Skating Championships in Seoul. Now, sure, that's the big news here for next season now.
Yes.
In 2023, in the Four Continents Champion, she was the champion of the championship and the world silver medalist.
Right.
Now, she had been suspended by the KSU over sexual harassment allegations.
Yes.
Now, a Seoul court granted her an injunction in November, allowing her to compete again. Now, a lot of people really thought at her age as well, it's not like she would be too old when she was going to come back, but 3 years out of competitive skating.
That's a lifetime, though.
It's almost, I'm sure if these charges were legit, if everything was real, that she was charged with this and went to court and it was the case, sure, the crime fits the penalty.
Yes.
But again, if it's something that was drug out over this time and it came out that in the end they threw it out, it would be a complete waste of essentially her career.
Yes.
Now, in an emotional statement after qualifying, Lee acknowledged her difficult period and expressed commitment to becoming a more mature and responsible athlete. Now, I'm sure the KSU the KSU also is happy about this with the amount of controversies it has had as of late. It doesn't want any more of this. It wants to, just look forward to the Olympics in 2026. And that's what she said too. That is her goal. And I'm sure she will be, if not be one of the top skaters for South Korea at the Olympics in Italy in 2026.
2026. It seems so far off, but not really, because we're almost to 2025.
Yes.
Time is just speeding by.
And then the World Cup as well. That's everything's
gosh.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for providing such good coverage of sports and, of course, of Liverpool.
Yeah.
Congrats, and we'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Andrew.
Have a good one.
All right. And it is time to actually get to our final song for hour number 1. So here it is. This is, what is it? Symphony. This is by Clean Bandit featuring Zara Larsson.
I've been hearing symphonies. Before all I heard was silence. A rhapsody for you and me. And every melody is timeless. Life was stringing me along. Then you came and you cut me loose. Was solo singing on my own. Now I can't find a key without you. And now your song is on repeat. And I'm dancing on to your heartbeat. And when you're gone, I feel incomplete. So if you want the truth, I just wanna be part of your symphony. We hold me tight and not let go. Symphony. Like a love song on the radio. We hold me tight and not let go. I'm sorry if it's all too much, but every day you're here I'm healing. And I was running out of luck. I never thought I'd find this feeling. 'Cause I've been hearing symphonies. Before all I heard was silence. A rhapsody for you and me. And every melody is timeless. And now your song is on repeat. And I'm dancing on to your heartbeat. And when you're gone, I feel incomplete. So if you want the truth, I just wanna be part of your symphony. We hold me tight and not let go. Symphony. Like a love song on the radio.
되는 부산, 여러분은 어떤 축제를 기다리시나요? 이 캠페인은 대선공익재단과 BeFM 부산영어방송이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
We are
the firefighter duo.
Winter is so dry. Let's prevent fire by keeping these 3 rules. If you take caution, you can prevent a fire.
The number one cause of fire in winter are electric blankets. Take special caution with highly flammable materials such as memory foam, toppers, and bedding.
Number 2, having too many appliances on the power outlet is dangerous. Always unplug all the appliances that you're not currently using.
Number 3, check the heater is off before leaving the house. Leaving it on for an extended period of time can cause a fire.
Let's all take part in preventing fire and have warm and safe winter this year.
Tune in to BeFM 부산영어방송 for an emergency broadcast.
This campaign is brought to you by BeFM 부산영어방송.
지역 경제가 힘차게 출발합니다. 기업들이 고객을 향해 더 빨리 가려면 방송 광고라는 엑셀을 밟으세요. 경제도 기업도 더 힘차게 달려가니까요. 방송 광고의 작은 힘, 경제의 큰 힘입니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning,
Dynamic Busan.
Yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded.
What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
It is now 8 o'clock and this is news highlights. National Assembly Speaker puts on hold downsized 2025 budget bill. National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-chik decided to put the opposition-led downsized budget bill for next year on hold yesterday, urging the ruling and opposition parties to reach an agreement by next Tuesday. The proposal pushed through by the Democratic Party at the special committee last week puts next year's budget at 677.4 trillion won, down 4.1 trillion won from the initial plan proposed by the government. The budget cut affects the whole amount flagged for special activity expenses of the Presidential Office and National Security Office, as well as those of the prosecution, the State Audit Agency, and the police. The government and the ruling party have argued that such expenses must remain confidential. DP introduces impeachment motion against audit chair. The main opposition, Democratic Party, reported an impeachment motion against Board of Audit and Inspection BAI chair Choi Jae-hye during a parliamentary plenary session yesterday. The National Assembly will put the motion to a vote at the upcoming plenary session tomorrow. By law, an impeachment motion must be put to a vote between 24 and 72 hours after the motion is introduced. This marks the first time an impeachment motion against the head of the BAI has been raised in the National Assembly. Yoon vows to ease burden on micro business from delivery app commissions. President Yoon Suk-yeol pledged to introduce measures to ease the burden on small merchants from delivery app commission fees as part of efforts to boost sluggish domestic consumption. During a public policy discussion session to support small merchants yesterday, Yoon proposed cutting delivery commission fees for such businesses by 30% within 3 years and exempt all traditional markets from all these fees. He also announced plans to introduce measures later this month to reduce the commission rates for mobile gift certificates and to introduce a reservation deposit system to alleviate the burden on businesses from no-shows. U.S. announces new chip export restrictions against China. The United States announced a new semiconductor export control package against China, including restrictions on exports of high-bandwidth memory HBM chips for artificial intelligence that are likely to affect the South Korean industry. The Commerce Department's Bureau of Industry and Security, BIS, unveiled the package on Monday local time. Two South Korean firms, Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, and Micron Technology, lead the global HBM market. The decision comes as President-elect Donald Trump expected to adopt a tough policy stance on China. It is in line with Washington's efforts to limit China's access to key technologies on national security grounds. Dozens killed in crowd crush at Guinea football match. At least 56 people have been killed in a crush at a football match in Guinea's second-largest city, in Zerekore, according to the government. An inquiry is being launched to find those responsible, Prime Minister Ori Ba said in a statement, calling the event tragic and offering his condolences to the bereaved. Some reports indicate that supporters of a visiting team threw stones at the referee following a controversial call. Local media said police had to use tear gas. And this was News Highlights. Now time for issue Wagger Wagger. So Haley's back in the studio with us.
Hello again.
All right, let's get started with our first story. So, this whole idea of helicopter parenting, right? Hovering everywhere their kids are. Yes. Yeah. It's an issue. I guess like the older term used to be like tiger mom. Now it's like helicopter parenting. But it seems that these days some parents continue this over-involved parenting well into their children's adulthood.
And I think helicopter parenting is putting it gently for some. I'm gonna float this, pun intended. What about drone parenting?
Drone.
Because with helicopters, at least you have to be, several meters above the head.
Yes.
But with drones, you can be
closer.
Right there. And some parents are right there.
Oh, apparently.
So these are real stories. A department head, so we're talking about fully grown adult children.
Yes.
At a finance firm, received a call from a new recruit's mother. She called the company.
I shudder at the thought, but yes, okay.
Saying my child,
cringe.
once again, at least, in their early 20s, he or she struggles with handling customers and feels pressured by the sales goals of the department. So can you transfer the child to a different department?
OMG.
Another case. An HR team at a logistics company, and this is like a large, like a conglomerate firm.
Okay.
They received a 4-page letter from an employee's father.
A 4-page letter, not a note.
A 4-page letter.
A 4-page letter.
A 4-page letter.
Okay.
Asking the HR team to please stop my adult child from trying to quit and go study abroad. Also accusing the company, like, are you guys bullying him? Is that why he wants to quit his job and go abroad?
Gosh. Okay.
Right. So overparenting has now seeped into the adult children's career. And you're in education.
Yes.
So am I. We're in different sectors. But have you experienced, like, do you get calls or messages from parents?
I had one situation
Yeah.
where the parent actually came down to the school and demanded that I get in trouble because I had sent the student, a different type of exam because her mother was ill, really, really ill. So I let her send in a report for an exam. I gave her my email address. The student said she had emailed it back to me, but I never received it. So I had to give her an F. And then the father came down demanding answers. And then we figured out what happened. She had sent it to the wrong email address. She forgot the one in my email at the end of my name.
Gosh.
And so they ended up having to apologize. Yes, but
Interesting.
the father came down to the school.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna
College student.
I'm gonna
Not-
not.
yeah.
I'm gonna not comment and
An adult,
You're right,
yes.
because I don't want that father coming to me and yelling at me. So once
Since
again,
you asked.
overparenting.
Yes.
I mean, it's getting. Like, yes, involved parenting is a thing when your
Right.
child is a toddler and a child into elementary, middle school, and even to high school, perhaps. But now it's just getting later and later in life.
Yes.
University, jobs. So this is according to a survey among 40 HR representatives in the top 100 companies. So these are large companies, 35%. Over a third said that they have received calls from the employees on employees' parents. It's mostly moms, sometimes dads. So wide variety of reasons. Inquiring about vacation, which I'm like, why can't I cannot say this enough, adult child who managed to get into that company ask about vacation. Transfers to a different department, wage, bonuses, rules, and dress code.
Are you serious?
I kid you not.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
One IT company received a call from a father putting a rush on a half-day panta vacation
Yes.
request that their kid forgot to submit because they have a family tesa, they have a family ritual. So yeah, and then a parent of an applicant who didn't make it called and said, "How dare you not accept my child?" So, and they're just on and on and on. So this shows that kind of kangaroos, not just in the physical sense of you still live with your parents, but they're still very much within the pouch of their parents' protection and will have all the parents fighting the battles.
Yes.
The emotional kangaroo parenting seems to be growing. So experts say that this over-parenting and on the children's part, over-dependence on parents, it's a result of these complicated social and psychological factors. It all goes back to the birth rate, does it not? Because, well, an average household apparently has 0.68 or 0.7 whatever children. Right, child.
Yes.
So, only children are very common.
Yes.
So all of the resources, all of the care and love and affection goes to that one child. And the parents want to make sure that nothing bad happens to them, even into adulthood, unfortunately.
Okay.
So this has become kind of a social phenomenon of sorts.
I hope it's not a growing trend, though.
I
Seriously,
really hope not.
because be an adult.
Yeah.
And then one person, souvenir, 그걸 왜 아빠가 하냐고, with like 6 exclamation points. My question exactly, but I knew from my personal story, I knew that I had given her an opportunity, and I didn't. I checked my email like 10 times. I didn't get an email back.
Right. Also, Tommy said they got. I want details. Tommy, write more. They got calls also.
Oh, really? Tommy,
Yeah.
send us more information. We want to know about the overparenting.
Like, I have a sister who's 20, whatever. She's in college. But
Right.
then if she misses class or if she does this, I hover. It's a character flaw. But I hover behind her. I'm like, did you email the professor?
Yes.
Also, did you write, "Dear Professor, please and sincerely," and can you
Right.
write like an adult human being? Like, yell at your kids.
My rule is this. I tell all my kidlings, unless you're in the emergency room and cannot physically text something, you got to do it yourself. That's just my rule. So anyhow. All right, let's move on to this next story of a pilot who died while on a mission and his family that are commemorating him in a special way.
So this is it's a sad story, but a beautiful one. So we're talking about this Korean American pilot, Seok Kim. He works for the rescue organization Pilots and Paws. So they literally rescue puppies from disaster areas and fly them into safety and to families who will adopt them. So they do good work. So Kim was flying a plane with 3 dogs on November 24th from, I believe, Maryland to New York when this small single-engine plane crashed on unknown circumstances, but it was snowing and onto the mountainous terrain in southeastern New York. Unfortunately, Kim died along with one of the puppies named Lisa. The other 2 dogs survived. Well, Kim's family, they came up with a memorial flight to fly the ashes of the dead dog, Lisa, to them. Because Seok Kim's 16-year-old daughter, Leah, said that they wanted to complete what their father started because that had been his dedication. So Seok Kim is from South Korea. He achieved his childhood dream of becoming a pilot and started working with Pilots and Paws to rescue cats and dogs from disaster areas. And so the daughter felt that their family had this responsibility to continue what he started. And now Lisa's ashes are buried in the family's backyard. So she has her forever home. Seok Kim's family, his funeral is scheduled for this coming Thursday.
Wow. And they did this, even before his own funeral?
Right.
Goes to show you what an amazing family he has. Okay. Well, let's switch gears because that was just too sad. It was heartwarming but sad. The Oxford English Dictionary. This is the time of year when all the dictionaries come out with their, word or words of the year. And this time around, what was it for dictionary.com?
Demure.
It was demure. We got quite a few.
By the way,
laughs on
our
that.
producer, who's not here, so I'm going to talk about her behind her back and maybe to her face because she's probably watching, to your face. She grabbed the most unappealing screenshots of me trying to appeal the fact that I am demure, and she used that as her thumbnail. So thanks for that.
Yes, and then you know what the thumbnail of me was? Reacting to you
you're like oh my God.
Anyhow, so what is it for? We got to follow up by Tommy real quick. So she was sick, the employee, and she called her mom, and the mom called us. If you have the strength to call your mom, call your workplace. But anyhow, back to our Oxford Dictionary word of the year. Yes, what is it?
Brain rot.
Brain rot.
Brain rot. And some Korean outlets have literally translated it as 뇌썩음. Which it is. So, what is it? It's what happens to our brain, supposedly, when we watch hours and hours and hours of short-form videos.
The death scroll. Yes.
So, according to the OED, the supposed deterioration of a person's mental or intellectual state, especially viewed as the result of overconsumption of material, mostly online, considered to be trivial or unchallenging.
Yes.
230% increase in usage between 2023 and 2024. Interestingly, though, brain rot, although it seems to be so modern, it comes from 1854, none other than Henry David Thoreau's Walden.
Oh, really?
And this is highbrow.
Okay.
Because Walden is all about this simple lifestyle in the natural world. So he says England endeavors to cure the potato rot, will not any endeavor to cure the brain rot.
Ooh.
And I tried that. I won't say that in a British accent, but yeah. So in the digital age where we live right now, it's a whole different meaning, social media platforms, and it has prompted a serious conversation about these possible negative impacts, with overconsumption of media. Not Morning Wave in Busan, but once again, what was it? Unchallenging and trivial.
Yes.
Content might have a mental health, especially children and young people.
Wow, brain rot. But that actually made the top 10 also of another dictionary as well.
I think dictionary.com.
Right. That made the list there too. So I guess it's definitely being used a lot. So before we go off, condemning all social media, social media can be a source of fun, right?
Absolutely.
We peruse, I hope.
In moderation.
Such as this Korean food fusion. What is this?
Okay, so 꿀떡. So it has the sugar, honey filling inside, but milk and milk. So
like how?
꿀떡 cereal. Yeah. So guys, you know how I am dedicated and I will go out and do field research. So I was out like not all day. I had jobs. But I was trying to find 꿀떡. I couldn't. So I'm on a mission. I will hopefully report back to you tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm so dedicated. Oh my God. You don't even know. But 꿀떡 cereal's gaining traction on social media. But not in Korea. Well, it came back to Korea, but initially outside of Korea.
Outside of Korea?
Yeah.
Really?
So it's an import of a re-import of the Korean 떡. So social media users say that this is basically like giant bubble tea. Yeah, and then they recommend you actually cutting the 떡 so the filling seeps out into the milk. And it's like the sugary milk that you have after cereal. Yeah, so, and it goes in line with the popularity of the South Korean sticky rice cake. Ministry of Agriculture is saying that they've seen 40% increase in processed rice products like 떡. So yeah, and even Korean Naver Data Lab says 꿀떡 cereal first made an appearance very first time last month, and it's been going on the up and up.
So Wavers, have you tried this 꿀떡 cereal?
Would you be willing to?
I don't know about this one. We'll let Haley taste.
I'll try. I'll be your guinea pig.
And then she will report on it to us. Well, thank you for all the waggly stories, and we'll definitely check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.
All right. And now it is time for your updated traffic and weather. It is now time for your traffic update. It is now 8:18 on this Tuesday morning. There is congestion on the Gwangan Bridge right now on the top portion going towards the Daeyeon overpass. Also, it's looking slow on Gwanmundaero from Sujang Tunnel to Pier number 5. And also some backup detected on Geodaero from the Hamajong intersection to Songgong three-way intersection. It is currently 8 degrees and looking nice here in Centum, with a daytime high expected to go up to just 12 today. Looking across the country, cloudy in the central regions with light snow forecast for Seoul, Incheon, and parts of Gyeonggi starting tonight. It's going to be fairly cold across the rest of the country, with daytime highs only going up to maybe about 5 degrees. So here in Busan, relatively warm. So this was your traffic and weather. And this is Attention by Charlie Puth.
You've been running around, throwing that dirt all on my name. 'Cause you knew that I'd call you up. You've been going around every party in LA. 'Cause you knew that I'd be at one. Oh, I know that dress is karma, perfume regret. You got me thinking about when you were mine. Oh, and now I'm all up on you. What you expect? But you're not coming home with me tonight. You just want attention. You don't want my heart. Maybe you just hate the thought of me with someone new. Yeah, you just want attention. I knew from the start. You're just making sure I'm never getting over you. You've been running around, throwing that dirt all on my name. 'Cause you knew that I'd call you up. Baby, now that we're right here standing face to face, you already know that you won. Oh, I know that dress is karma, you regret. You got me thinking about when you were mine. Now I'm all up on you. What you expect? But you're not coming home with me tonight. you regret. You got me thinking about when you were mine. And now I'm all up on you. What you expect? But you're not coming home with me tonight. You just want attention. You don't want my heart. Maybe you just hit that thought of me with someone new. Yeah, you just want attention. I knew from the start. You're just making sure I'm never getting over you. Over you. What are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to me? What are you doing? Yeah, you just want attention. I knew from the start. You're just making sure I'm never getting over you. Oh.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's time for our special interview. So, every year on December 3rd, we mark a very important day, the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, like I said in the beginning of our program. And this is a day to celebrate the rights and contributions and resilience of people with disabilities around the world. And this year's theme is this: amplifying the leadership of persons with disabilities for an inclusive and sustainable future. So that's the theme. And I think quite aptly, to go perfectly hand in hand with the theme, we have invited Dr. Dinesh Palipana, who is an Australian doctor, plus lawyer, plus scientist, and also an advocate for people with disabilities. So he has quite an inspiring story that I'm sure you're going to be really mesmerized by this story because it's such a human story. Let's find out more about this because, he is the first quadriplegic medical intern in Queensland, Australia, and the second person with quadriplegia to graduate as a doctor in Australia. So let's hear more about his journey and work on this special day. Hi, welcome to our program. Sorry, Dr. Palipana, welcome to our program.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I've been so looking forward to this.
Oh, the pleasure is all ours, of course. So we really want to hear about your personal journey first. So can you tell us about who you are, just in your own words?
Of course. I was born in Sri Lanka in 1984, so I spent the first 10 years of my life in Sri Lanka when it was going through the Civil War. And we moved to Australia on my 10th birthday in 1994. So I've been living in Australia since 1994. I finished school and then I studied law. So I got through law school. But when I was studying law, I had depression. And so I started to see a doctor, and this doctor inspired me to become a doctor myself. So I finished law school, got into medical school, and then ended up having a car accident which paralyzed me from the chest down. So it affected my hands as well.
Yes,
and,
yes.
So this was in 2010, nearly 15 years ago now. And so the car accident happened. I had a spinal cord injury. I spent nearly a year in the hospital. And then 4 years later, I came back to medical school. But I had to navigate a lot of difficult conversations about whether I could do it. People were skeptical. But eventually I got back into medical school, finished, and now I work in the busiest emergency department in Australia. So that's a little bit about me.
Just a little bit. Yeah, it seems like you have lived like the life of so many people. I mean, first as, becoming a lawyer and then delving into medicine and then this, this car accident that did, of course, change your life. I really do want to ask you, though, as inspiring as your story is, I'm sure there were so many challenges and obstacles to get to where you are now, and especially some of the challenges you faced when you returned to med school.
Yeah, and I suppose there are two aspects to this. One is the physical challenges, and there is a lot for someone with a spinal cord injury and indeed many disabilities. There's a wheelchair, so the physical environment needs to be accessible, ideally. And then I had to figure out how to hold my stethoscope again with what's left of my hands and how to do procedures and all those kind of things. So there's a few physical things, but then the other aspect of it is the social aspect. So we know that people with disability have barriers in employment and education, but the biggest thing for me was attitudes, and it was the attitudes of some doctors and some academics about whether I can do the job, whether I can get through medical school. And in the end, we found, like this many years later, that actually those things were not real. Those challenges that we put up at the time, they weren't really challenges at all. They were just attitudes. So I think for me, attitudes were the biggest challenge.
So delving a little bit just more into the whole attitudes aspect, how were you able to affect or influence the attitudes of other people? Because, you can control what you do. How do you kind of affect other people or influence people into changing their attitudes? Was it very difficult?
I love what you say, that we can control what we do. So that's true. And I tried my best to be my best. So that was one aspect of it. And then I think it took a village. This journey took a village. It took my mum, who's been a big part of my journey, to sort of support me and to do what she can. It took other educators who believed in including me in the education process. It took some other doctors, and these people fought for me with the opinions that thought that I couldn't. And I think that the most important thing in this world is for good people to do something, because bad things happen when good people do nothing. And so I had a lot of good people around me who fought for me. So it's taken a village to get here. But I think over time, familiarity also creates comfort. And for me, when people started to become familiar with what I could do, because we fear the unknown, I think, but when we start to see, when we start to become familiar, then that fear goes away. So it's also been a matter of me working, proving myself. And I think over time, people started to believe that actually this can work.
Thanks for sharing that insight with our listeners, Dr. Palipana. As this person who has experienced, this adversity firsthand, do you think that it actually might even help you as a person in medicine to be able to connect with other people, to be able to understand somebody who might be going through a challenge, maybe not the same challenge, but nonetheless a challenge of their own?
Yeah, I hope so. And they say that there's this beautiful saying that the obstacle is the way. So there's a thought that maybe the hardship is the way that we find light. So for me, this has been an avenue to understand that there are so many different people in this world. And indeed, globally, I think there's about 1 in 6 people who have disability. It's a big part of our population.
Yes.
And for me, I never really understood before the accident what life was like for someone with a spinal cord injury. So there's mobility issues, there's social issues, and even things like controlling the temperature because my skin doesn't work anymore. So there's so many hidden aspects to this that I didn't understand. And there was this beautiful moment when I was working in our hospital one night, and it was about 2 a.m. and a patient who had a very significant disability came in, and they were very sick. So I was their doctor that night. And when I wandered into their bedside, the patient told me that I am so glad that you're here tonight because I know you understand what I'm going through. And for me, that was one of the most beautiful moments of my career, and it made it all worthwhile.
Right. Well, what a profound, unique experience that you're sharing with us. So thank you for sharing that very personal event that happened to you, Dr. Palipana. I also hear that you speak about the power of technology in improving the lives of people with disabilities. So how has technology influenced the way you practice medicine? Has it made you a more effective doctor?
Yeah, thank you. Medicine has been historically such a conservative profession, so it's taken us a long time to adapt technology.
Yes.
But for me, necessity has been the mother of all invention. So I started to use technology as a medical student, things like dictation, things like handheld ultrasounds.
Yes.
And in fact, I was very lucky last year to come to South Korea to speak about ultrasound use in my work, which I loved. South Korea is an amazing place, by the way. So
Thank you.
I loved it. And so with all these tools, it's made me more efficient, more accurate. And in my first year, we kept some numbers about how I performed. And with the use of technology, we found that in the emergency department, I was seeing 25% more patients than the average doctor.
Really?
Yeah, so it's really changed the way I do medicine, but also for some of my colleagues, and they've started to use some of the technology that I use in their practice. And this is the future. I think for medicine, technology is the future. It allows us to be better. So the spinal cord injury has been a road into introducing more technology into practice, both for me and for some of my colleagues.
I also want to ask you about this, though, Doctor. As an advocate of persons with disability, how do you address some of kind of the misconceptions about the abilities of a person who has a disability, especially in a field like medicine? Because I'm sure there are these preconceived notions, these biases that people might have.
Absolutely. And that is one of the reasons why I'm so grateful to you for giving me your time this morning, because visibility is hugely important. And through conversations like the one you and I are having today, we can start to shed light to a small part of our community or to a large part of our community. And that visibility really helps. So when someone sees, oh, there's a guy with a spinal cord injury practicing medicine, then it starts to challenge the way we think. One of the most beautiful experiences that I had, I went to a particular medical school a little while ago in Australia.
Yes.
And I met some students. And so there was a student there who had a spinal cord injury, and this student was from Singapore. So they told me that they once saw me on a YouTube video, and they thought, hey, if he can do it, I can do it too. And that's how they made their way into medical school. So I think visibility is really important. Conversations are really important. Being present is important. And it's not always about having conversations with people that believe. It's actually having conversations with people that don't believe.
Wow, that is so profound. Going back to, you said you visited South Korea a while back. In South Korea, the public, the government working hard to improve accessibility. Based on your experience, though, what advice would you give to just governments and communities at large, but even for here domestically in South Korea, to really improve on this inclusiveness? Because, even the theme for this year, it's all about, an inclusive and sustainable future. So how can we improve?
Again, I think the biggest thing is attitude. So if we are willing to problem solve with people, if we're willing to include people, if we're willing to educate and employ people and have people be a part of society, no matter what their ability is, I think that's a big part of it. And in my travel to South Korea, I loved the people, because sometimes there were physical accessibility issues, as there is with any place in the world. But the people in Korea were so willing to problem solve and help. So I really loved that. And so I think attitude is one of the biggest things. But also including people with disability in the problem-solving process. So if we're trying to design a better space, if we're trying to design better environments, if we're trying to design roads or whatever it might be, it's to actually get their input, because there are a lot of things that we don't see, there are a lot of things that we don't experience, and unless you have that voice, we don't know. So I think that those would be my top 2 tips.
Indeed. Well, hopefully, the people who are in charge of all of that. And, for us, though, we can change our attitude and definitely be better educated so we can all do our part in being more inclusive. Thank you for that. Well, this day obviously marks, and emphasizes inclusivity and accessibility. And, if you were to have a final message to our listeners, what would you say? What would you like to say? I want to give you free rein, Dr. Palipana. What would you like to say to our listeners?
I love it. Well, my dream, my vision is that we have a day where we don't need to have these conversations, where we don't need a day like this, and where people are treated as human beings, and we're all seen for our strengths and our beauty and our contributions to this world. So I hope that we see a day like that in the future. And to get there, I think we need to change attitudes. But if we can take an action, it will be, and Richard Branson said this best, he said, say yes and figure out how to do it later. So say yes to employing someone. Say yes to giving someone a shot at education. Say yes and figure out how to do it later. And I promise you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Wow. Well, of all the things you said, what you said previously, bad things happen when good people do nothing. I think that's going to really stay with me for a very long time. So I want to thank you for inspiring not just me, but our other listeners as well today on this day. And hopefully there will be a day when we don't have to mark a day like this, where everybody is included and feels very much an equal part of society. But thank you so much for your time and just for inspiring us today.
Thank you for having me. You're amazing.
Everybody, this was Dr. Dinesh Palipana for our special interview. And the second part where he said, say yes, and then kind of figure it out later, that's going to really, I hope, move and stir the hearts of many people out there as well. If you're in a position of hiring, of, admissions, for students at whatever institution you may be at. I hope that you take those words to heart. I definitely will. Well, we are going to take a little breather with this song. So how about this one? Get Happy. This is by Sam Smith and Renee Zellweger.
Troubles, come on, get happy. You better chase all your cares away. Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day.
The sun is shining, come on, get happy. The Lord is waiting to take your hand. Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. We're going to the promised land.
We're heading across the river. Wash your sins away in the tide.
It's all so peaceful on the other side.
Forget your troubles, come on, get happy. You better chase all your cares away.
Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day.
Forget your troubles, come on, get happy.
Oh, chase your cares away.
Oh, hallelujah, get happy. Before the judgment day. The sun is shining, come on, get happy. The Lord is waiting to take your hand.
Hallelujah, get happy.
We're gonna be going to the promised land. We're heading across the river. Wash your sins away in the tide.
Oh, it's quiet and peaceful on the other side.
Forget your troubles, get happy. Your cares fly away.
Shout hallelujah, get happy. Get ready for your judgment day.
Come on, get happy.
Chase your cares away.
Shout hallelujah.
sins away the tide.
It's all so peaceful on the other side.
Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy.
You better chase all your cares away.
Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready for the judgment day.
Get your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
It is now time for Bonnie and the health. So yes, let me put your mic up. How are
I
you?
admire my floating head because I am camouflaged into the background.
Oh, hold on. Let me get you centered in, the other way. I want to get you centered, nice and center. There you go. There you go. So even more beautiful. Yes, yes. No, you're not I know. I try to avoid beige when
I noted. Now noted.
Yes, yes. Well, it's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking for our text topic about like spacing out.
Okay.
Like 멍 때리다. Like, do you actually go to a place where you can like not think of anything, or do thoughts kind of still traverse across your mind?
Oh, yes. Always thoughts are in and out.
Oh, really? Even for money?
Yeah. Sometimes driving, actually, that's where I go if I'm on a long drive. And usually I like to listen to the radio, of course.
Yes, yes.
But sometimes that's the time when I'll kind of, daydream.
Daydream.
Yeah.
While focusing on the road.
Yes, of course,
Yes.
of course.
Got it. Interesting. Okay.
I love that. I think some of my best ideas come from that time.
When you're driving, kind of just
let
having
your thoughts kind of go.
like me time.
Yeah.
Alone on the road.
Yeah.
I like. All right. Well, I believe we're going to continue our discussion on microplastics, right?
Yes. This is part 2 of microplastics in the body. And I mentioned last time, I'll do a little bit of recap in case anybody missed the session last time.
Yes.
But we were talking about this because Busan was hosting the INC5, which was so important. 178 different nations that came here to Busan to discuss the final treaty or pact where we can develop an international legally binding pact on how we can solve this plastic pollution crisis. Now, unfortunately, we did not come to a successful treaty.
That's
On
true.
Sunday, we did not reach
right.
a successful treaty, but there will be another one held in the following year. So hopefully we can find a better solution, a strong treaty then. But this is why I wanted to bring this to everybody's attention, because now more than ever, we really can't depend on our governments and these companies to kind of take our health into consideration and take out all these plastics.
Right.
It's still a process, and it's a very complicated process because plastics are everywhere. So we have to take that responsibility upon ourselves. So this is why I'm here to kind of let you know how we can reduce our plastics and what the real dangers are on our health.
Yes.
And that starts with the education part, right? Knowing the facts first, and then we ourselves can decide what kind of changes we can make in our daily lives that will fit into our lifestyle that we can sustain, meaning that we can continue. So not something that you're just going to change for a day and you're like, oh, this is too hard, because that really won't make a large difference in your
has to be
overall
sustainable,
life.
right?
Yes, something that you can do continuously in your life. So just a recap of key points, not to scare everybody out there, but I thought these facts were so interesting and a little bit shocking.
Yes.
But last week we talked 62 placental tissue samples were tested, and all of them had traces of microplastics.
Yes.
And also 17 human arteries were tested, microplastics found in every single one of them. So microplastics have been found in everything in the human body, including our blood, breast milk, and of course the human brain. So
that was like the scary part.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If microplastics can find their way to our brain, then that's getting a little scary, because we know the brain controls everything that we do. It's a control center center of our whole body and, of course, our thinking. Memory, being able to communicate with people controls that as well. So if we have a damaging chemical leaching out into that brain, of course, that will affect everything that we do.
Indeed.
Yes. So some examples of how these microplastics get into the body, because I think when we hear microplastics, we think of just a tiny little piece of plastic, maybe the kinds that you see when you're walking on the beach, a little piece of blue, yellow, orange. That's what I tell my beach cleaners when we go do beach cleanups. Look out for those tiny little pieces.
Right.
So we think of that. But really, microplastics can be down to like the nanoplastic level. And it's not necessarily tiny little pieces that we can even see. It's the tiny little pieces that are coming off of plastics as well.
That we can't see.
And so you think of a water bottle and you're like, well, there's nothing I can see floating in this water bottle. So there's no
They're
microplastics
still there.
in it. Yes. Tons of them. Millions of tiny little nanoplastics that have come off of the plastic are still in the food and drink that we are consuming. So don't think just because you can't see it that it's not there.
True.
And one of the highest ways that I thought was very surprising that we get these microplastics into the body is canned food. So I mentioned this last time, but a study found bisphenol A, which is the BPA. And a lot of plastics have that BPA, BSA, phthalates, and PFAS. So these are forever chemicals that are in the plastics, and those forever chemicals stay in our bodies. As you guessed it, forever.
They don't go away.
Yeah. And they're endocrine disruptors, meaning that they will kind of mess up your hormones. They will either mimic a hormone or they kind of block the passageways. So that causes a hormone imbalance, which of course causes for many other disruptions in the human body.
Right.
But canned food, you think, how cans are made of metal?
Right.
Why would there be plastics in it? But soups particularly are very fatty and they're very acidic.
Yes.
And we know those kinds of things kind of draw out whatever material they're in into the soup. So canned food companies, they don't want your soup tasting like metal, of course, right?
Oh, no.
They want the soup to taste fresh.
Yes.
So they have lined the cans with these chemicals, which are same chemicals in plastic. So the study who studied people who ate one serving of soup a day for a week, just 1 week, just one
one
serving.
week,
Yeah,
one
serving a day. They found that their urine contained 1,000% increase in this BPA chemical. So if you can avoid it, avoid canned soup and anything else that is canned that might be fatty or acidic. Okay. Sea salt.
Sea salt
is great actually for you. I've covered this on the radio before.
We need it to survive.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
But if you're having salt, if you're getting it from the sea, and we know that there are tons of microplastics in the sea, right? So there's a saying, there are more microplastics in the sea than there are stars in the sky. So that gives you a little idea of how much plastic is in the ocean.
Sure.
But when we're filtering out that seawater to get sea salt, those plastics are in that sea salt.
Yes.
So try to have salt, not a marine type of salt. So maybe Himalayan pink salt is a great option.
Okay, that's what I use. I'm like, good.
Lots of minerals. That's a great one to have. And way less microplastics.
Yes.
So go for that salt. Clothing. I mentioned this last time.
Right.
But clothing is actually one of the highest ways that we ingest plastic.
And we don't really think about it.
No, yeah, because you're not eating your clothes.
You're
right?
not hopefully not consuming your clothes, right? Right.
Yeah, so you don't really think of it in that way. But a lot of our clothing, the material, especially things like rayon, polyester, spandex, these are all made from plastic materials.
Yes.
So if you are washing your clothes in the washing machine, a lot of those fibers are coming off of the clothes. They're going into our waterways, coming back to us. Also, we are ingesting because little bits of that plastic will come off as you wear it. Just normal wear and tear. Right? So we're inhaling these chemicals or these little fibers as well, and those are getting into our body. So a way to reduce that is, and this is great for the environment as well, to buy secondhand because actually when you buy new clothes, that's when the most of those fibers are coming off.
I'm sure,
so
yeah.
the more you wash it or the more you actually just keep a piece of clothing.
Yes.
So if you can keep a piece of clothing for a long time, please do so. That's going to be better for your health. But also if you actually buy clothes that are gently used as well, that's going to decrease the amount of microplastics that you're ingesting as well.
Sure.
Another thing, of course, you guys know this, but packaged foods. But I want to say packaged foods, you also think, well, my packaged food isn't hot or it's not really directly touching the plastic.
Okay.
So
How is it
probably
like
safe. But any kind of plastic, like a film plastic, if the food is kind of scraping the insides of it, or you are in transport, a lot of times those little bits of plastic are coming off of it. So this documentary that I watched, Plastic People, they looked at a cereal bag under the microscope, and they could see little like trails, little flakes of the plastic that are just ready to come off. And in testing the cereal, they find
cereal bags. Oh my gosh.
Because if you think about you're dumping cereal,
it's
you're
not straight from the box, right?
You're kind of scraping the edge
of
the cereal package, and the part that you open that has the little glue parts of it. Those little glue parts are flaking off and going off into your cereal every time you take it out. So if you do buy stuff in plastic packages, maybe as soon as you get home, put them into a different container. Like a glass metal container.
Yes.
Lots of people put things in glass jars. Yes. That's a great way to keep things fresh. So take a look at the packaging that your food is coming in and see if you can get it elsewhere that is not in packaging that is made out of plastic. Maybe your marketplace, right? Something else to be mindful of, and I mention this a lot, your plastic containers. So I want to make note, if your plastic container says microwave safe, this does not mean that it's healthy
that
or
it's okay for your body.
For your body to put in the microwave. It just means that it won't melt in the microwave. So please, if you're warming anything up in the microwave, please do not do it in a plastic container.
Okay.
Also, paper cups.
The lining.
The leaching of the paper cups. This is one of the highest ways also that we ingest plastic. So if you have to get something, because it's getting cold outside, I know we like our warm beverages.
Yes.
If you have to get something in a paper cup because you forgot your sustainable metal
tumbler
coffee mug.
Yes.
As soon as you get it, transfer it over into a regular mug, a ceramic mug or a metal mug, whatever you have. Throw away those plastic cutting boards.
Yes.
When you're using a plastic cutting board, of course, all those little pieces of plastic are going into your food. Switch to wooden, or they even make steel ones now.
Yes.
Non-stick pans, also a big source.
I heard that's chemicals. Really not good for you.
Yes.
Right.
Lots of those chemicals leaching into your food. Right. So maybe switching to cast iron or ceramic are great. And I always want to give you guys solutions, ways to get these microplastics out of the body.
Yes. So we need solutions because we're running out of time. What can we do?
Okay. I'll do quickly.
Yes.
So eat lots of cruciferous vegetables. What are these? Like broccoli, cauliflower, artichokes, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. These are going to help your liver process all these chemicals out of your body. Plenty of fiber like oatmeal, lentils, and sweating. Sweat once a week. Have a nice, good sweat.
And a sweat session.
Yes. These are not going to take the microplastics out of your body, but they will help to filter some of the chemicals that we get into our body out of the body.
Okay. So in summary,
yes.
In short, what should we? Yes.
Do what you can.
Yes.
Right? So microplastics are not going to completely exit your body completely, but you can do things to reduce the amount of microplastics in your body and get some of those chemicals out. So these aren't going to necessarily make your lifespan necessarily shorter or longer, but it's going to improve your quality of life because it's going to get those chemicals out and reduce the amount of maybe disease that you will get later on.
But thanks for going over all the everyday items that we probably didn't really associate with microplastics, but now we definitely will. We're better informed, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. This was Bonnie. We'll check in with her next week. Bye, Bonnie.
Bye-bye.
And it's already time to say goodbye. Time flies when you're having a good time, so thank you for tuning in, for all your support. Final song for today is Bidi Betty Christmas. This is by IU, so enjoy. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.
눈꽃이 피었나 또 빛이 나 눈이 부신 나처럼
Yeah girl You should know that That my heart beats like From the bottom of my heart I thank God I found you 쿵쿵 가슴이 왜 이렇게 가뿐히 참아도 자꾸 네 생각이 나잖아 Oh you, I love you And I know you love me too 네가 내게 불러준 you are my boo
아직 꿈만 같아 마치 선물 같아
BeFM 부산영어방송.
부산의 축